everyone, and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSeco. So, the articles that we will be discussing today are firstly, a wage code that is a hasty composition. Now, as we know that we've had a lot of labor laws in India, but now an attempt has been made by the government to bring all of these into one umbrella. So, we'll be discussing upon that wage code in detail. Secondly, open the door. So this basically talks about the number of women who are there in the field of science as scientists or even as teaching professionals, and what can be the avenues for women in this direction. And thirdly, what delay in RBI panel meet means. Now, as we know that the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, which was to be held on 1st of October, has been delayed. Now, why has it been delayed, and what are the consequences of this delay? We'll be studying in this article. And fourthly, we have the news and flash column, wherein we'll be discussing the crisp and small news articles that are more important for our prelims exam. Before that, let's have a look at the LawSeco courses that we have. We have the lot of the courses, that is the Judiciary Test Prep course. So if you are also preparing for Judicial Services exam, you can also enroll yourself for this course. The link is available in the description box below. Also, you can download the free study material, which is available at the landing page itself. Then we have various other courses too. We can the viewers can definitely have a look at them at the LawSeco webpage. Now let's see that what is the multiple choice question for the day. Who is the head of the Monetary Policy Committee? So basically, who heads the MPC? Firstly, Union Minister of Finance. Second, President. Third, Governor of RBI. Or fourth, Financial Secretary of RBI. So if you know the right answer, do jot it down in the comment section below. Let's see then what is the descriptive question for the day. Recent labor reforms balance the concerns of the industries and the workers. Critically evaluate in reference with Code on Wages 2019. So the answer to this question must be written within a word limit of 250 to maximum 300 words. Now let's start with the first article for the day, which talks about the Code on Wages, and it says that 3 new labor codes, that are the Industrial Relations Code, Social Security and Occupational Safety Code, and Health and Working Conditions Code, were passed by the Parliament and now await President's assent. Now let's see that what is the Code on Wages of 2019. Now, as we know that in 2019 also we had this code, which was named as the Code of Wages. Basically, it seeks to consolidate and simplify 4 pieces of legislation working in the similar direction. Firstly, the Payment of Wages Act 1936, Minimum Wages Act 1948, Payment of Bonus Act 1965, and Equal Remuneration Act 1976. So all these that were existent till date. So these all 4 legislations have tried to be consolidated under one head known as the Code on Wages 2019. Then all requirements for enforcing the act have been relegated to the rules. Then it retains almost all provisions of the 4 codes except a few new concepts such as, so these are the new things that have been added in the Code of Wages 2019, like the procedure for fixing minimum wage, limit for fines, deductions in wages, minimum and maximum bonus, calculation of allocable and available surplus, and gender neutral consideration in fixing wages. So these are the new areas, the new points and new considerations that have been added in the Code on Wages 2019. But other than that, more or less the provisions of these 4 acts which this Code on Wages tries to replace, they are only available in these apart from these new upcomings. Now, the other new features of the code are that the same definition for workers is there, but now a person employed in a supervisory capacity will also be a worker. So this also depends. This is for like even if you have a remuneration for approximately rupees 15,000, still you will be called as a worker only and not an employee. Then it dispensed with the necessity of having a minimum number of workers to be included in the schedule. Earlier it was 1,000 workers or more, and then the central government will have power to fix a floor wage. So this is unwarranted, as since state always fix incomes higher than the existing rates. Basically, by floor wage, we mean the minimum wage, as in that no entity, no industry would be allowed to pay a wage lesser or lower or less as compared to the floor wage as set by the government. But this also does not make really much of sense in this area. Then let's see that how are we supposed to enforce the code. This has created an omnibus inspector cum facilitator. So for the enforcement actually, so we will have an inspector cum facilitator for the purpose, who would advise the employers and workers to comply with the code and carry the inspections. Then, to claim mechanism, Section 45 will be heard and determined by an authority not below gazetted officer, appeal to the industrial tribunal. Basically, these are the whereabouts of this new code on wages 2019, and all the perks or all the new additions in this code have been discussed in this article. And then a penalty, no impact on employers, will be there. So People's Union for Democratic Rights and others versus Union of India and others in 1982 held that if violations of labor law are only punished with meager fines, it would be impossible to endure observance. So basically, this is just the truth, because obviously, if you do not penalize something in the real sense, then you definitely are not curbing that issue, and it will never be cured in the future as well. Then in section 56, it is provided that officer not below the rank of an not below the rank of under secretary will have power to impose penalty in place of a judicial magistrate. So these are the various discussions that have been taking place on the code on wages, and let's see that how much will this code be successful in providing the sought aim and objective that it is really looking forward up to. So yes, now let's see that what is the second article for the day. Scientific institutions and gender equality. So a new government policy is coming up which is proposed to rank the Indian institutes of science. So specifically this talks about the institutes that teach science in them on the proportion of the women they employ. So like we know that there are various factors with which we consider the performance and the ranking of a particular institution, and now the government is considering that we take this thing also into account, that the proportion of women that they are employing in their institution will also be one of the factors to determine the rank of the institutes dealing with science. So this will measure the institutes on childcare facilities and concrete opportunities they provide to their women. So there are two basic things that they will be evaluating these institutions upon in this specific area. Firstly, how good child care facilities are they providing? Like obviously there would be various women who would be into their maternal stage before and after, and even when they have gotten their delivery done, they have a little baby. So how well the child care facilities are provided by that institution. And secondly, what are the concrete opportunities, what are the concrete advances, or in a way chance of growth that they are providing to their women. Now let's consider some data that is available on the Indian women scientists or the women who are in the field of science in India. In 2005, number of women entering university to study science increased 30% from 1950s. But then again, the drop before entering teaching or pursuing doctoral research was observed. So in a way, they joined the college, there was an increase in joining of the college or university to study science, but then when it comes to proper use of their know-how or their skills in the field of teaching or any kind of doctoral research, there was a huge dropout that was seen. Then also, IITs have a poor record in employing women as faculty at the faculty level. So, you know, IITs that are considered to be most esteemed institutions for science in India and technology in India, even they have recorded a poor scenario in employing women at faculty level. Now, the reason that can be considered behind this situation are two. Firstly, selection between nurturing a family and career in research. Now, if particularly we talk about India and also in various other countries worldwide, what happens is that a woman is mostly she is given to choose between her family and her career, and mostly the women tend to choose nurturing their family and leave apart their career, which is definitely not an equitable and not a good behavior in a way, and we should definitely discourage this kind of behavior. And secondly, scientific institutions have not given much thought to redesigning their systems to accommodate talented women, just like in the example of childcare facilities, etc. So many times women drop out just because they're not able to balance their childcare after their child is born and their career because of the lack of the facilities that are available at the workplace. And obviously, if these childcare facilities and good childcare facilities would be available, definitely more talented women would be incentivized to join these areas. Then COVID-19 and women. So a double of women's labor at home has been observed due to lack of childcare and closed schools. So this might actually, this has actually resulted into various consequences and has led them to quit jobs and professions. And obviously, academia is not of the and only exception. In various fields, the women have to quit due to the increased pressure, also due to the COVID-19. And then we have this article for the day, which talks about the RBI, that is the Monetary Policy Committee, or the MPC. Basically, we need to know that the MPC meeting, which was to be held on October 1, it has been postponed as the government is yet to appoint 3 new members. So the tenure of these 3 members appointed in 2016 expired recently. What is important for us to know and understand in this article is that what is actually the MPC, or the Monetary Policy Committee, and what is the role that this MPC plays. So the Monetary Policy Committee is a statutory committee that fixes key policy interest rates and monetary policy stance along with inflation target. So as we know that one of the most important targets of the Reserve Bank of India is to control the inflation. So as we know that 4 plus minus 2, that is either it can be 6%, 4 plus 2, or it should be 2%, 4 minus 2. So this is considered to be an ideal area or fluctuative area of the inflation rates. And also to cater to this target and other targets of determining the interest rates, the policy interest rates, MPC plays a very important role. So this is this statutory committee that actually fixes these things, and it fixes the key policy interest rates and also the monetary policy stance. The members of the Monetary Policy Committee are the Reserve Bank of India governor. So yes, now you know the answer to the MCQ for the day. So he is the one who heads the Monetary Policy Committee. Then the other internal members of the RBI itself, who are the Deputy Governor in charge of the Monetary Policy Department and Executive Director in charge of the monetary policy. And 3 external members who are government nominees selected by a committee, and they have a tenure of 4 years. So the quorum of the Monetary Policy Committee is 4 members, of which at least 1 is an external member. And these are the more elaborate functions of the MPC. It discusses domestic and international scenario. So this actually is done to finalize the repo and reverse repo rates. Now by repo rates and reverse repo rates, we mean that many times the banks in India, as we know that the Reserve Bank of India is known to be as the mother of all the banks in the country, and it is known to be the guardian of all the other banks. So many a times what happens is that the banks, like be it any bank, you can take Punjab National Bank, State Bank of India, Oriental Bank of Commerce, etc., be it any bank, in case of crisis, they take loans from the Reserve Bank of India as well. Now the rate, the interest rate at which the Reserve Bank of India offers the loans to these banks is known as the repo rate, and when it goes back, it is known as the reverse repo rate. So this repo rate and reverse repo rate is also finalized by the Monetary Policy Committee. And also recently it reduced the repo rate by 250 basis points to 4%, because obviously an economic crisis was going on. So we were trying that we put more money into the hands of people. So in order to give more money to the people, banks need to have more money in their hands, for which they had to take money from the Reserve Bank of India. And to ease this process, the repo rate was brought down by the Monetary Policy Committee. So these points should be kept in mind. Very potential prelims as well as mains question can be framed from this area as well. Now let's see, what do we have for news and flash today. Firstly, Sri Lanka bans cattle slaughter. The cabinet has approved Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's recent proposal to ban cattle slaughter. The ban demanded by the Sinhala Buddhist groups, majority of whom are supporters of Rajapaksas. So Sri Lanka is a Buddhist majority country. We should know this. This also can be a very potential prelims question. And majority of them do not consume beef as it is considered sacred. And Buddhists comprise of approximately 70% of the population of Sri Lanka, and that is why this ban has come forward. Secondly, UAE to launch spacecraft to moon in 2024. Please keep in mind that it has not been launched till date. It is planning to launch one. So the Prime Minister and Vice President of UAE, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, so it's a very, very long name. There's no really need to remember the name. So he's the ruler of Dubai Emirate, have announced plans to send an unmanned, also we should remember this will be also an unmanned spacecraft. By unmanned spacecraft, we simply mean wherein no astronauts or scientists will be going along with the spacecraft, but just the machine itself. So Emirati made lunar rover to moon in 2024. The rover will be named Rashid. So this should be kept in mind. So if UAE becomes successful in this attempt, it would become the fourth nation to land a spacecraft on moon after the United States, the former USSR, which was the Soviet Union of the Russian Union, and China. India, Israel, and Japan have also tried, but we have failed, unfortunately, as we also know about the story of Chandrayaan 2. So it is still orbiting around the moon, but the rover, which was supposed to land on the moon, it could not actually make a very smooth landing. But very soon, we'll be looking forward to such more ideas. Thirdly, Crime in India 2019 report. So, as per the report, crime against women and scheduled castes have increased by 7.3% each from 2018 to 19, and the composition of crimes against women. So here, cruelty by husband and relatives has increased by 30% approximately, and assault to outrage modesty by 21%, and kidnapping and abduction by 17, and rape by 7.9%. Then, as state-wise, UP reported the highest number of cases in both the categories, be it for the women or the scheduled caste. Assam reported the highest rate of crimes against women, and Rajasthan reported the highest rates of crimes against SCs. So this is something really important to know. These facts can be used in our essay, mains answer writing as well, and also we should know that what is the Crime in India 2019 or Crime in India report. And fourthly, time use survey by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So according to it, only 18.4% women participated in employment activities compared to 57.3% men. Now, as we know that even according to the Periodic Labor Force Survey that we have, the PLFS, it also says that the women participation in the employment activities is very less as compared to the men, which is not good, and gender parity should be seen in here as well. Here it says that the average time spent by men was 459 minutes per man on a job or an employment, whereas for women it was only 333 minutes. So this was all for today. We hope it was a good and informative session for you all. Stay tuned with Law Seco for such more sessions to come. Thank you so much.